So welcome, everybody. So as an attendee, you can type in questions in the chat, in the Q&A. If you look down below, there's a Q&A logo, and you can type in a question there for me to answer. You can also raise your hand if you want to talk with me in person. Hey, Sage, welcome. Hey, Katrin. Hey, Jerry. And Anata, thanks for coming. All right, yeah, so today, we're just going to start talking about ego, but before we start talking about ego, you know, it begs the question, doesn't it? What are we talking about? What is ego? And in the Facebook group, I asked people what they mean by that. And I gave them some options. And here are the options. A sense of self-esteem, worth, or importance. Your spiritual soul. Freud's id or superego, the mediating ego. The pure I. Your conscious thinking mind. Your spiritual false self, misidentification, or the voice in your head. And so far in that poll, we have a majority leading with the voice in your head. So when most people are talking about ego, that's what they're talking about, the voice in your head. Now, that's because most people don't like the voice in their head. It's criticizing themselves or others usually. And they want to get rid of it. And so this is why we often speak of getting rid of the ego or even killing your ego. Or because there's also some other languaging out there that you hear of ego death in spiritual realms, especially Eastern, ego death. And so because we think ego is the voice in our head, oh boy, wouldn't we love to have the death of that thing, right? Never have a critical thought again. This is what people are seeking for. So I don't know what you're thinking ego is. It'd be great if you took that survey, let us know. Or just come and talk to me about it. Because it's important that if we're going to talk about ego, we're on the same page, that we're talking about the same thing. And I never talk about ego in any other sense other than the mistaken case of identity. I don't talk about it being the voice in your head because that's not what it is. However, there is a relationship between ego and the voice in your head. So I do sometimes talk about both, but they're not one and the same. So ego, how I'm going to talk about it hereafter, is a case of mistaken identity. And what is the mistake? Often the mistake is you identify with the voice in your head. You think that's who you are. And I had one client just highlight this. He had an argument in his head. Who here had an argument in their head before? Yeah. Or you think you're having an argument in your head. And you think you're arguing with somebody. But he had an insight. He realized, who am I arguing with anyway? He realized there's nobody here. He's not actually having an argument with a somebody because there's nobody here. And so if you're not having an argument with a somebody, is there an argument actually? Is that noise in your head an argument? And if it's not, and there's nobody that you're arguing with, then is it even you who's arguing? And this is the root of it all. This is the case of mistaken identity. Contemplate that. Is it actually you? Okay, so is there a you noticing the voice, noticing the argument? If there's a you noticing this argument, so-called argument, then how can you be the one arguing? Right there is a huge tip-off, a huge indicator that You're not the voice in your head. That's not you. It's not you, and it's not the person that you think it is that you're arguing with. There's no argument. There's no people arguing. So what is going on? A lot of noise, a lot of chatter, a lot of thoughts, images, what I call the movie in the mind. And one thought triggers another thought. That's it. That's what's going on. There are no people arguing. You're not arguing. Do you see this? If you see this, what happens in your own experience?
Relief.
Yes, it's not true, right? All of whatever feels bad in the argument, all the content in the argument is not happening. And it's the content that hurts, right? None of it is there. So there's relief. But what happens to the argument? So-called argument.
It stops.
That's why you get the relief. It stops, and you quit being interested in it, so that's why it stops. Because the brain is designed to give you whatever you're interested in, give you more of it. That's what its job is, to serve you. The mind is there to serve you, not make you suffer. It's not doing anything to you. Is what you're doing to it. Hey, welcome, Patty.
Patty.
So I'll just let everybody know again, because we had some new people join, that you can, you can chat us. And I got a chat message there. You can, Katrin said it stops. You can put up your hand if you want to actually come on here and talk live, because life is alive. You can press the Q&A down there to ask a question if you don't want to talk to me directly, and I'll see what I can do to answer your question. So at any point, feel free to ask a question, chat, or put up your hand, because I prefer to interact with people rather than sit up here and do a soliloquy, because I don't know if I'm doing you any good, really. So feedback is awesome. Patty says, I'm only able to tune in for a few minutes and wondering if a link is available after the call. We're hoping. we had a few glitches today. This isn't going exactly as planned, but it's going. And I know it's being recorded. So we will make it available to the public. And someone says, I have an appointment that I have to leave right away. Yahoo? Oh, you're answering Yahoo to my, yes, recording. Aha. Patty says she misses the energy around these conversations. Okay, great. Yep. So, yeah, we didn't want to go on too long today. We're going to end soon. So I invite you, now's your opportunity for Q&A or direct conversation. If you find a way on your gizmo there to put up your hand.
Should be in the upper left-hand corner, I believe.
Should be in the upper.
Look for, it says audio settings and raise hand, and there's a little hand in the left.
So, yeah, if anybody came in late, Jerry's got her hand up. If anybody came in late, we started talking about what ego is and defining it so that we're all on the same page. There's no point trying to have a conversation if we're talking about completely different things, apple and oranges. So this recording will be made available for you to review that. And Jerry, let's bring you on. You're muted, but we'll get that fixed. Unmuted.
Oh, hey, Cindy.
Hey,
Hello.
Jerry, welcome.
Jerry.
Hi, Kai.
Hi.
Good to be here. So I'm glad I got the memo just in time, or the email just in time. What you're saying just sounds just too simple. I mean, I got an aha. It was great when you were talking. I got it, and it just that aha felt so good. And you know, I've worked with you in the past, and I've come a long way.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, I really have, and I'm very grateful for that. I am. And however, it's just it's a constant. What I'm finding, it's a moment to moment awareness.
Yeah.
Because my mind, it seems like my mind just has these hardwired mind patterns
Yeah.
that I want to shift.
That's the problem.
That what?
You want to shift them. The problem is you want to shift them. You're interested in them. You keep giving them energy. The thing is to realize it's just mind chatter. It's not happening. It's not important. It's not real. And when you ignore it, you pull the plug on it. You stop giving it juice, and it will fade. You've got to do what I call the reality check. Become a reality lover. Do the reality check to see what's actually going on here. Truly, really. And to do that, you need to come to your senses. What's actually going on here is what you're seeing, feeling, touching, tasting, hearing. Literally your senses. Anything else that you imagine is going on is your imagination. And if you see that and you prefer reality over illusion, stay with reality.
Mm-hmm.
You're more interested in reality, not interested in the chatter in the head. For any reason, you know?
Yeah.
No reason, not even the reason that I want to be done with it. No, that's the sure way you're not going to be done with it.
So what you resist, it persists, kind of thing. Yeah.
Well said. Well
Now, okay, you did answer the question. You told us what the ego is not. It's not that voice in your head. What do you think the ego is?
Yeah, you must have come in afterwards, because we addressed that in the beginning.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'll tell you what it is, because I brought up all the different kinds of ideas people have about ego, just so we could, put them all to bed, kind of thing. All of those ideas, by the way, if I return back to them, sense of self-esteem, worth or importance, your spiritual soul, Freud's mediating ego, the pure I, the conscious thinking mind, the voice in your head, all of those are thoughts. They're not real. All of those themselves are thoughts. Have you found a thing called a spiritual soul, or just have an idea about a spiritual soul as a thought? You see, they're all thoughts. So what I say the ego is a case of misidentification. You're identifying with something you're not, which is a thought, a feeling, the movie in the mind, imagination. It's not who you are. I don't know if you heard the beginning of this either. I use the example of having, an argument in your head.
Yeah.
You think you're having an argument in your head. That's what people do. They think. That shows that you're identified as the character in the mind, as the I thought. But in truth, there's no person in your head that you're having an argument with. There's therefore no argument. And there's therefore, that's not you. That's all just chatter. So how can this be seen? When you are putting all of your powers, and we speak about the 5 powers in the upcoming workshop, September 19th, when you're putting all of your powers into the movie in the mind, it looks real. It looks like that's what's going on. And you can actually literally not see what's in front of you anymore. You won't see the person in pain in front of you anymore. You won't see the dog run across the street when you're driving anymore, because you are completely absorbed in the movie in the mind, which is not happening. And that's how you can collide with what is happening in reality. So this error in who you are is the root of it all. If you get to the root of it all, everything falls away. Okay. This is why this idea of ego is so important. Okay, we have another question here. Oh, somebody asked, what are the 5 powers? I am not going to go into that here because you need to experience them. Just knowing them, you have a thought. Okay, you actually have to experience them. So I invite you to join the upcoming ego workshop. It's free, and you'll get a demonstration of it there.
Hey, Cindy, one more question for you.
Yeah.
And I'm just, again, you know, you're saying some really good stuff, and it's, you know, it is on the intellectual level, and that's great, you know.
I hope
Let me
not.
ask, well, yeah, just from what the other spiritual, any rate, guides that teachers that I've found. Now, you said something about you think somebody is a spiritual soul, but it's really just a thought, right?
Yeah, if you were to tell me that you have a spiritual soul.
No, like say somebody else has a spiritual soul. Like, for example, you like Muji, right? You like Muji. Yeah. Do you think he's a spiritual soul?
No.
No?
No, there are no others. There is only the one same self. How can there be multiple separate spiritual souls?
Okay. No, this is good. This is good.
Good to hear your laughter again.
Yeah. Oh, I had another question for you, but I've lost it. It might come back.
Okay.
Yes, I know. I was going to ask you. Okay, do you ever say you're in this movie in the mind? Okay, you know you're suffering. You back out. You see, you know what's going on. Do you ever ask for help?
Who?
You ever just the universe to help you out?
No. That would be separation. You know, asking somebody else for help. Now, the only last illusion of separation that's ever useful is giving up yourself. It looks humble when you're going to ask somebody else for help, but it's still bringing forward me and my problem, me the way I want it answered, because that's what you're looking for. Surrender is complete surrender of all your wants and desires, and that would be the last little bikini, as Muji says, of separation, self and other. And after that, it's over.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
If you can give yourself up to whatever you want, you could give yourself up to the universe, to any idea you have of God or, you know, divine source, whatever. And then that will be the end of there being a you separate from divine source. You will not disappear, your true self. This will be the end of the illusion of if you completely surrender. I say the best request for help is complete surrender, absolute complete surrender of yourself. Any question on that?
No, I'm
you know, it brings up a memory of somebody who said to me, you know, they were in excruciating pain, they had this illness, and they said, oh, I surrendered, you know, I surrendered. And I said, really? And tell me about that. And they said, yeah, I was in this excruciating pain, and I just, you know, I was ready to die. So I told God, you know, you could take me tonight. And I'm hearing you told God what to do, and you think that's surrender? Whether or not you live or die, give this even up. You know, it's not you anymore. That's the point of surrender. She didn't die that night, clearly. She said, I don't know what happened. I completely surrendered, and here I am. Well, this was God's will. You're still here, no matter what you think about it. That's the point. This false idea of yourself doesn't matter. You give it up. Don't worry. You know, you get fear sometimes. You go, what? Give up myself? Like everything I held on to? And yeah, you think you're going to lose everything. I tell you, you're going to lose this chattering identification, this suffering, this seeking. You're going to gain everything. It's a fair trade.
Yeah.
More than fair. I have another attendee's hand up. Maybe we'll go on a bit long. This is good. I like this line of questioning. When I get these questions, I tend to go on. Kai, you're muted?
We also have a question from Keith in the chat too.
Yes, I saw a question in the chat, was it? Keith is asking about developing happiness habit. I'm going to come back to that, Keith, but I'm going to invite another panelist. I think if you want to hang in, Jerry, you're welcome to hang in.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how many panelists we can have. This is our first ever webinar this way. Hello, welcome. Oh, no mute. I got you. Okay, you can talk now, Anada.
Oh, cool. I can't see you now, though.
Oh, you can't? Oh.
No.
No, I had no idea why that would be. I can see you and hear you.
Okay, I can hear you, so that's all that matters, I think.
Okay.
Oh, actually, no, I can see you now.
Okay, good.
Great.
Hey.
Hi. I'm interested in this idea of surrender, and it seems, for me at the moment, it seems really practical. Like it's the most practical thing to do.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, I didn't really have a question, but I had an interest as soon as you started talking about it.
Okay, good. Well, thanks for coming on. Keith says he's enjoying the line of conversation. Just roll with it. Maybe that's what's good for all. Yeah, and I'm not going to forget about that. This is a good question too. So yeah, but yeah, what's the word you used in that? The most practical?
Practical thing to do, yeah.
It is very practical and is very effective.
Yeah, because you know, it seems to be like a thing that is available. Surrender's always available.
Yeah.
And trying to sort out my life and, you know, mixing things up and changing things around is such a pain.
Yeah. A lot of effort, eh? A lot of effort. And the thing is, it's sort of like you're on this massive ocean liner ship, right? With a huge engine, right? But you're like, oh, we have to paddle. Come on, everybody, hurry up, paddle. We gotta paddle, you know? Meanwhile, you've got this massive engine, you know, you don't have to do anything. It's all happening. This idea of you and needing to paddle and other people needing to paddle is completely, you know, irrelevant. And, you know, when you first hear this, you might have the fear like, oh my God, but if I don't, I'm going to lose control. Well, wait a minute. Have you ever actually had any? Actually, right? We've had the idea, the movie in the mind, that we've had control. But how many times have we been shown that that's not real? You know, until we accept and go, ah, yes. Yeah. It's funny because I like this, and you smile when you think of surrender. It's wonderful. It is a sweet thing. Some people think it's like a negative, ugly, I'm going to lose. No, it's heart-cracking sweet. I highly recommend exploring it to everybody. Go ahead, Jerry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess what I'm, you know, I know that when I'm a flight attendant, and I know when I go on the plane, I know if I meditate a little bit and focus on, like, you know, in the Buddhist tradition, metta, which is
loving kindness.
Yeah, loving kindness. I guess, and I always feel better after I do that. When I get on the plane, I feel more aligned.
Yep.
And I feel like I'm cultivating these good feelings, these good emotions that I can extend. What's your take on cultivating the feelings? What's your thought about cultivating taking the time to get aligned and get into that positive vibration for mankind? What's your
Yeah, well, this is great because now we're going to start answering Keith's question about developing happiness habits.
Okay.
I am a total proponent of, as many of you here know, because a lot of you here actually been hanging around me for a little while, and they know the story of what actually happened to me was I discovered love and joy within. That I say I discovered it. It's not like, I made a big discovery, but it was to me because I thought we had to suffer. I thought our happiness was hinged on other people, things, or events. And I found this unhinged, unconditional, infinite love, joy, peace, always available anytime. And I indulged in that. And, that's a great way to experience life. But if you only do it, a little ways, you do it a little bit and you start to feel good. Okay, and then you go about your business and then you go into the mind again. And, you'll have to do this ad nauseum. And it is not release, final, absolute, fundamental release, as you've noticed, as you're saying. But one thing it can do, if you take it to the extreme, like the Sufis recommend and Rumi recommends, that you fall in love with love, which is what happened to me. Fall in love with love. And what that will do is blow you out. You, the false you, the you think you are. If you take this to the extreme, it will blow that identity out. You will desire not yourself anymore. You will desire this love, this joy, this peace, which is what happened to me. I say there was surrender in my experience, but it wasn't like, oh, well, right, I'll give up. This is not surrender. It was, oh my God, this is so great. I am nothing. You are everything. Do with me what you will. Literally, that is what happened. And that wasn't the final end, but this was heart cracking. This is opening you up to the truth. And so I would highly recommend that you develop a happiness habit over a depressive suffering habit. But, whether you have a happy ego or you have an unhappy ego, you still have an ego. You still don't know the truth of who you are. You're still identifying with the not self. So if you're happy and things are, what happened to me, things became very, a lot of equanimity. I didn't want anything anymore from anybody, and I didn't prevent anything anymore from the world. So desires, attachments, fade, and you get a stillness. And that stillness is necessary. Stillness of mind is necessary in order to have the realization, the recognition of the truth of who you are and who you're not. So do I recommend it? Yes, but not part way. You have to be extreme to reach the supreme. Fall in love with love, not a thing, a person, or an event, but love itself. And you will start to seek it all places, all times, like I did, until something really strange will happen and it will start to seek you. And then you disappear. Keith says, what I think of happiness is a wonderful vibration. I guess I'm trying to tune in, so to speak. So who am I truly is still beyond even the wonderful vibration of happiness. I'm all the vibrations. No, anything after I am is not true. Anything after I am is a limitation, and you are unlimited. Don't try and define yourself with mind. It can't do it. Mind doesn't contain you. Mind is contained as one of the many innumerable things within you. Okay, it's awfully quiet. Has mind stopped? Go ahead, Jerry.
This is kind of a personal question. I know in the past, like when you're dealing with somebody who's totally wrapped up in identity, and you can't have a conversation because this person's amped up, worked up, and in the past you said you just step back from that, from that person if they're not in their rational mind, so to speak, or if they're just just full of emotion, just step back and say, hey, and if they're projecting negativity at you, in the past you've said step back. Are you kind of getting an idea of what I'm talking about?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, on the plane, when I'm on the plane, when I have these customers sometimes that I get triggered. They'll say something rude or unkind, or they feel entitled or disrespectful. I can't step back from that. I have to. I can't just leave the plane.
So what you're saying is you can't step back from them.
From somebody who's all worked up in their mind.
Yeah. So are Jerry?
Yes.
Are you worked up in your mind?
That's a good question. I get triggered.
In the moment,
yes.
Are you worked up in your mind?
Sometimes, yes.
Sometimes. When this is happening, when this is happening, are you the one who's worked up in your mind?
Yeah, that's actually a good. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You're worked up because you're having thoughts that they are projecting negativity. You're probably not thinking that one at the time. You're probably thinking something more like they're rude, they're unkind, they're disrespectful. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So you are now experiencing your thoughts of rude, disrespectful, and unkind.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah.
This is This is shortcut alchemy.
Yeah.
You know this process.
Yes.
I don't usually jump this fast with anybody, but you know this, so I can do it and you can see it, right?
Yes, I see it. Yeah.
So what you can't step back from is not them. It's that which you're using your 5 powers to empower, which is the movie in the mind about them.
Right. Yeah. Right. Okay. Thank you.
So here's you're welcome. Here's an example. Someone, is told they're going to be sued. This has actually happened with a client, and they receive the papers and they're looking at the papers and what's happening inside. Oh my God, we're being sued. Oh my God, how could they do this? What are they thinking? How can, blah, 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 right? Mm-hmm. And they're working themselves up, right? Mm-hmm. And then they did the practice. They came to their senses. They used their 5 powers and they went, oh, do the reality check. What's really going on here? Ink on paper. In this moment, that's what's going on. They have ink on paper. That's it. That's all. When you have somebody in front of you and this is going on, what do you actually have in front of you? Don't touch a thought in the mind. What do you actually have? That's a question for you, Jerry.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Okay, good. Checking. You got check, yeah.
So when I have a customer in front of me who's rude and disrespectful, what was the question? I'm sorry.
So this woman realized I have ink on paper in the moment. That's what's actually happening. When you remove your stories in the mind, when you remove the movies in the mind, when you disregard that, what do you actually have happening in front of you?
A person who has a need,
maybe not. Before that, they have a need as a thought. Could be true. Now compassion might start to come in. Oh, they have a need. Or they might be having a nightmare in their own mind right now. They're suffering. These are very valid possibilities, but you still don't know their truth.
Yeah. What I have is my thoughts it's my thoughts I have about this person.
Do they exist? Do thoughts exist as something real?
No, they don't. They don't.
It's just a thought that comes and goes, right?
Right.
So what do you actually have in front of you? What's actually going on? What do you see?
I'm seeing another person.
Another person. What are you hearing? I'm actually hearing.
I'm hearing my thoughts of.
No, what do
I
you?
think.
You're not actually hearing those. They're not being spoken. What are you actually hearing with your senses, not the mind?
I am hearing somebody who seems agitated.
That's the thought. You're getting there. You're getting there.
I'm seeing.
You're seeing a person.
Uh-huh.
What
And
are you
that's-
hearing?
This person's voice. That's what I'm
Yes.
hearing.
Well, we can call it a voice. Could still say that's a thought. You're hearing sound, aren't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm hearing sound.
And it may change. It may get really like this, like you know, it may go up. Right? It may go. That's what you're hearing. You're just
Right.
hearing pitch change, loudness, right?
Right.
If you stay with your direct experience, there is no interpretation of it, and there's no problem with it. The problem comes from your interpretation and what should and shouldn't be happening.
So if I can stay neutral, if I can stay with what is,
Yeah. If you come to your senses,
uh-huh, I can,
notice, the reality check is the difference between a movie in the mind about what's happening and what is actually happening. That's the reality check. Can you differentiate? Can you discern the difference? Everybody can. You
yes,
haven't been, yes, good.
yeah,
You just haven't been practicing it. You've been practicing the mind.
yes,
Yeah.
I have been.
And you believe the mind.
Definitely.
You know,
Yeah.
that's why you've been practicing the mind. Now you quit believing the mind. You value reality. You honor reality. You honor what is. Come to your senses. Discern. And how different is it now? How different is
Oh,
it?
much better.
Yeah.
Much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm more, I'm just there. No.
And just
no,
take the action. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess just take it. Yeah.
Yeah. Without the whole story.
Right. Right. It's a more purposeful.
Yeah. It's a way better experience. It's
Yeah.
more useful. It's more purposeful. Yeah.
Yeah. More useful. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So Keith, did we answer your question about happiness? You may have another question about it. I don't know. If you want to come on, feel free to come on. Yeah, he says, so who I am truly is still beyond even the wonderful vibration of happiness. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's beyond everything. As soon as you grasp at something, that's not you. One new message here. Nothing. I have what I put there. I was just listening. Okay, great. Oh, someone asked, is love an idea? Well, yeah, you can have an idea of love for sure, but that's not what love actually is. Mm-hmm. Everybody has had the feeling, experience of love. It's an experience. How is it different from I am? Not much different, really. Existence, consciousness, bliss. I exist, I am is synonymous with bliss, consciousness, love. But not love of a thing, a person, or an event. This is thought-based, limited, comes and goes, is completely unreliable. I answered that question, Katrin? Because I think we've gone an hour. We were going to go 15 minutes. This has been great, though. Great question. Very.
Yeah.
Anybody else before we wrap it up? Good answer. Thanks, Katrin. Okay. All right. So if not, we'll let it go for today. We're going to be on again. I don't know if we'll be on this long next time, but of course, sometimes it depends on the great questions. Oh, how to begin happiness as a habit. Okay, Keith, stick that in there.
Yeah, thanks for bringing the questions, Jerry.
Oh, thanks. I hope I didn't monopolize it.
I was just going to say, I'm glad you've gotten over your concern about monopolizing.
Getting there.
Let me ask the panel here, does everybody think that what Jerry brought forward was really valuable? Yeah, getting nods.
Thank you, Keith.
Keith says yes, yes. So yeah, so see, nothing happens here that doesn't benefit the whole.
Good. Okay.
How to begin happiness habit. Well, first of all, fall in love with love. Are you in love with love, people? I hope you're in love with love. But love itself, the experience, the feeling. Recognize that's what you love. Okay? You do not love a thing, a person, or an event. What happens is when you think you need a thing, or person, or an event for love, you seek it. You may get it. When you don't get it, you're unhappy. When you do get it, you go, oh, I can be happy now. This is one of your powers that you're using unconsciously. And so now you dive into yourself, which is happiness itself, and you experience yourself. I'm saying don't limit yourself. Don't attach it to things, people, or events. Dive into love, happiness. Dive into yourself for no reason. Do it all the time. So how to do it? A good way to start is morning and night. When you're falling asleep, one way is ask yourself, what do I want? And this is a tool that not everybody will need. But if you have trouble accessing happiness, just ask yourself in the moment, what do I want right now? And whatever it is, the next question is, how does it feel? Not how would it feel? Might it, could it, should it, if, this, that, and the other. No, how does? You know how it feels. And I want you to access that feeling. Okay? So if you say, I want to have a partner because you're alone, how does that feel? How does having a partner feel? You do know. Okay? Access that and stay with that as you fall asleep. And in the morning, before you get up to go, ask yourself, what do I want? And you have to state it in the positive, because what you don't want is not going to feel good, right? So to find what you do want, state it in the positive. How does it feel? Answer it with your whole body, not just your mind. If you answer it with your mind, how does it feel? Oh, it feels good. No, full stop. So it happens when I do this work with people. No, good how? You may get many words, it's good, but let the feeling come that is appropriate, and block out, reject anything else, and stay with the feeling. Do this when you fall asleep. Do it when you wake up. You'll begin to develop the habit of happiness. There you go. You're welcome, Keith. All right. Great way to end. And until we meet again, enjoy the joy that you are, just because you can. And seek reality. Become a reality lover. See you next time.
Thanks, Cindy.
Thanks, everybody.
Hi, Kai.
Bye.
Hi, Jerry.
Bye.